They hide their true faces under masks of human skin! Two-faced snakes, oppressors of humanity!
You think President Myers is one of them?
Why so many shootings? Why do countless die on the streets as the police do nothing? What human would condemn his brethren to such suffering? And why? And where did this filth slither out from, you ask?
Antarctica. You said that already.
Today they hide amidst the snow and ice.
Like many people, I'm currently playing through Cyberpunk, and it's a massive game. And I'm taking my time, so I haven't finished it yet. But I do have 30 hours put into it, and I have a bunch of thoughts I wanted to share. Some impressions after spending a good chunk of time in Night City. I'm not about to give this game a number rating. I don't think it's generally a good way to rate the quality of a game, especially one with the scale of Cyberpunk. What I will say is, I like it. The game has many compelling aspects. Its strongest aspect is definitely how it's able to tell great stories in an open world environment. Side quests are a mixed bag, with some being run-of-the-mill repetitive objective busy work, but others tell some great short stories that cover many of the themes centric to the Cyberpunk universe. As a whole, the side quests seem like science fiction evolutions of the quests you found in The Witcher, and that's a good thing. CD Projekt are some of the best storytellers in the open world space, and this game shows they still got it. But I don't think this is another Witcher 3. This game has many problems, some of which I don't really need to get into. I'm pretty sure everybody has heard the shitstorm surrounding the game's performance quality, especially on consoles, and rightfully so. This game should have never been released in the state it's in. However, I think Cyberpunk has more problems than just technical issues. Cyberpunk definitely feels like a beta build, even when you're ignoring the glitches and the bugs. It creates an amazing looking world with a thick atmosphere, and it's at its best when you feel immersed, like you have a physical presence in the city. But immersion often breaks because the AI is unresponsive or a sound effect is missing, like punching a glass or even the aerial takedowns. Both of those, no sound effect.
Hey girl, how much?
Or lastly, an NPC's delivery not fitting the context of what's going on. Again, this is ignoring the extremely prevalent visual bugs that exist. This game feels like it's lacking the polish it needed. It feels like many placeholder portions just ended up making it to the release build. Let's discuss the AI quickly. The AI specifically is the worst AI I have seen in any game this year. The AI is brainless and unresponsive. So much so that I can cause a citywide traffic jam just by stopping my car in the middle of the road. Because they're just too dumb to eventually just drive around me. In other games, if I crash into an NPC's car, they get out of the car to confront me, or at the very least, they yell at me. In this game, you just get a creepy smile, as if I didn't just put your life at risk and total your car. Other parts of the AI just feel cheap, like the police, who just magically teleport to where you are. Hell, I've seen a bug where a guy fell through the floor of the world, and the police somehow magically appeared behind him, outside of the bounds of the world map. They got some tunnels into the Shadow Realm or something. However, not everything in this game is bad. I think there's still a pretty good game still hidden in the rubble of this mess, and even though it may not live up to its full potential or the hype surrounding it, it's still a very enjoyable experience. Like I said, CDPR are still great storytellers, and the main storyline of this game is very strong. Although narrative decisions don't have the large effects like the choices in The Witcher did, the story has been an interesting narrative filled with great characters and an interesting dilemma for V, the hero character. Unlike what I expected at the start of the game, V isn't a blank slate. Instead of you defining who V is through role-playing as the character, V is more similar to Geralt or Adam Jensen, where she's an existing personality who has relationships, and she's more just your conduit to explore this world. So the narrative choices may be limited, but on the gameplay end, Cyberpunk does a good job at letting you play how you like. Some missions are super linear with one route to success, but many others let you achieve the objective in whatever way you like, allowing players to construct a playstyle for V that is much more in tune with whatever they imagined V being. So the RPG elements in the gameplay are definitely better than the narrative. I do wish that the game acknowledged your gameplay decisions a bit more, but I won't complain too much. And I do respect CDPR for making play spaces that let players express themselves in their version of V. Okay, some rapid fire thoughts just before I close this out. Number one, I love the commitment this game has to its first-person view. I generally prefer first-person perspectives in any game with gunplay, and I really feel like I'm in Night City when I'm talking to a group of people from the perspective of V. Number two, I like that this game generally avoids having things like invisible walls or times where it restricts you from entering places that you otherwise would have reached with just your natural climbing and running abilities. And that lets me explore the city in ways that I like I oftentimes am crossing the town from rooftop to rooftop, just parkouring around, which I appreciate. Number three, the music in this game has been great, both the soundtrack and the licensed music that you hear on the radio. It really fits the aesthetic and it really sets the tone of the world, and so far I haven't come across anything I didn't like. Number four, generally I like the animations in this game, especially NPCs during cutscene conversations, and also the way that V animates her uses of the gun. They just all feel really cool and look cool. Number five, the keyboard and mouse controls in this game are terrible. Better controls were the first thing I modded, and so far that's the only mod I've needed that I thought was critical. But yes, this game, the keyboard and mouse controls are subpar. This game is definitely made for controller. Okay, so that's the rapid fire thoughts. With a game as big as this, it's gonna take me a while to conjure all my thoughts into a digestible package. But these were the thoughts I felt were the most important to get out. So, do I recommend this game? No, at least not yet. And that goes for both the console and the PC version. This game is not worth the money with how unstable its performance is, and I believe there's a pretty good game here, but you can't get a second first impression. And I know for me, first impressions matter a lot. So I just recommend waiting. Let the game get its patches and its improvements, and a couple months down the line when it's seen significant improvements and maybe even a price drop, then consider picking it up. But for right now, I'd say it really isn't worth purchasing, especially for console users. Avoid this game like the plague if you're playing on consoles.